masquerade. This means precisely that woman is more of a subject. Masquerade means like onion, you know, you just have layers of masks. In the middle, it's nothing. What's this nothing? This nothing is the Cartesian subject, who is a nothing. And if you read German idealists at its deepest, for example, Schelling somewhere, has a whole idea where she claims subjectivity at its most radical is feminine. This is why, incidentally, I'm pro-Cartesian. You know that the standard feminist line, unfortunately, is Descartes is a male chauvinist, his cogito may appear neutral, but is in reality masculine. I think, on the contrary, it's feminine, which is why it's not an accident. I don't know if you know this, it's simply a historical data. Do you know that Descartes' first and most enthusiastic public were women? Not only the Queen Christina in Sweden, but men. Okay, but nonetheless, let's go back to point, maybe this will bring it closer to you, but you event. Okay, so again, I think you can deliver, but you can save Badiou from that standard reproach by, look, always remembering it's not an inherent property which makes an event an event. It's the way it intervenes into a structure. So again, in his lateral événement, being an event, he still has this theory that an event includes its nomination, which means, in another way, that an event is an event only for those who are engaged in the event. His own example is, for example, French Revolution. If you are an objective historian, you will never discover there was something, the great French Revolution. Then you can play the game by that, how's she called, François Furet, the great liberal historian, French, whose whole point, but you knows this, is to de-eventmanize, how should you put it, to un-event the French Revolution, to show it wasn't a big thing, it was just some local French confusion because blah, 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 and so on. So, no, this is why. Badiou is very precise here when he refers to event as a grace, miracle. But the way he understands miracle is in the Jansenist and Calvinist sense. You know how? You know that it's a very beautiful theory of a miracle where they claim miracle doesn't violate the laws of nature. Miracle appears as a miracle only to those who believe in it. Miracle is not something that you can convince, like, you don't believe, I do, okay, I will show you a miracle, I can stand on my feet and jump up 20 meters. No, miracle is, and in this same sense, there are no neutral events. Events are events only for the engaged. But let me go on. The problem, and then you can counterfire. I just want to, where you should but you showed me, that famous image of balls hanging, no?
It's not famous, but yeah.
Okay, but you should maybe do a little bit of this procedure to Badiou for his own good, no? Squeeze his balls at this. So later in his logic of the world, he drops this. He no longer claims that an event includes its own nomination. He now, on the one hand, tends more and more to emphasize a gap between an event and its nomination. An event is something that just explodes, and then, for example, in examples of Christianity, Christ's resurrection, it doesn't matter if it happened or not, is the event. But it became an event only through its proper nomination with Paul, not even in the Gospels, with Paul. Now, the problem here is the following one, and Badiou knows it. Is there and I claim, maybe I'm wrong, that he tends to oscillate here a little bit. Is an event already in itself an event, or does an event only retroactively through its nomination and true fidelity of its followers, what Badiou calls in these religious Marxist terms the patient work of love, where you work to inscribe the event into the order of being. Here I claim he is looking for different ways, like sometimes he sounds almost, for me, a little bit too close to deconstructionism, in the sense that an event is only a retroactive effect of its nomination. That something happens, it can be nothing. Retroactively, it becomes an event.
Right.
But, for example...
Infinite possibility or nothing.
Sorry?
Infinite possibility or nothing.
Yeah.
There's the paradox.
Yeah, but again, if you say this, it...
Which equals 1.
Yeah, then I think you get a little bit too close to this standard...
That's the danger, I understand.
Yeah, the danger, no? Because... but sometimes he sounds, again, as if it's only the nomination which literally creates the event. On the other hand, sometimes he plays on an event as some traumatic occurrence for which we always look for a proper nomination, but we find it difficult even to find a proper name for it. For example, when he writes about 20th century or 19th century revolutions, sometimes he says that maybe all this Marxist terminology of class struggle is a wrong name. But fuck it, a wrong name for what? So is it as if this, he as it were oscillates between these two. So my solution here is
prior work.
He wouldn't agree. No, it's of course the Hegelian, Lacanian, both at the same time. My solution is even very is that no, I want to avoid both deviations as a Stalinist, right wing and left wing. Right wing deviation would be a naive substantialism. There really is an event, a miracle happens, whatever, and then we try to catch up with it, what it is, blah, blah, blah. But, as we like to say, there is a remainder, we never can do it, blah, blah. Then, the other deviation, left wing, would be this deconstructionist game. All there is only a flux, game language, and retroactively, but in a totally contingent way, some things are elevated into the status of event, and so on.
I quote what he said last night, and that seems to be a deviation. He said, this is, this theory of his is basically against the brutal use of dualism. So I think that's the absolute shift.
And, okay, so let me go on. So,
negation is not describing.
Yeah, no, but...
The negation of it.
Yeah, but let's go back to the event. My solution would be the following one. Again, maybe you know this, I often this example, but I found it beautiful. In my books, what happens in Einstein, I simplify it very much. I know, but to simplify it. In Einstein's passage from special to general theory of relativity. As you probably know, one of the key moments of Einstein there is this, how do you pronounce it in English? Curved space, curvature of space. That the space is not straight, blah, blah. No? Okay. Incidentally, this has wonderful uses for psychoanalysis, because what Lacan calls desire, the paradox, to put it in a very simplistic term, of curved space is that precisely sometimes the shortest way to get from A to B is not the straight line. But because the space is curved, it's faster if you go around. But that's desire. Isn't the whole point of human desire that, I love Christina. If I just jump on her and screw her, no. You must, the whole point is to make a detour. No? In other words, the space of desire is a curved space. No? Okay. But what's the shift? How to account for this curved space? Einstein first defines matter, in the inertia of matter, stuff, as that which curves space. To put it very simply, without